alongside with G2, alongside with Mouse Sports. These guys are eventually gonna be punishing them about for like reckless plays, making aggressiveness too hard.
Right, definitely. I mean, you can get punished for that, but at this point, it seems to be working for them. Let's see if they stick with it, if they go away from that and try to, catch their opponents off guard here. Moving into this fourth match, very, very exciting. Gankstars up 2-1 in this series, guys, and I do believe we have the draft ready for this fourth match in this best-of-5 series. So we go ahead and hop into that right now. And this is a situation where I think G2 pretty happy that they have the second pick here, where they can kind of respond to the first bans in the first pick.
Yeah, they have to like really change things up because they played this team already 3 times, and although they have one win coming out of them, they're all very close. Where they could have actually lost all three. Like the first game was like very heavily in favor of the Gangstar Cerebrus side that G2 Kinguin took advantage of on an ace and a Kraken push.
Yeah, they definitely did. But once they saw that opening, they executed on it. This is a squad that you really can't make any mistakes once you're playing against them. G2 Kinguin, though, you say that they need to, or not even just G2, but teams that are going to be facing the Cerberus team in the future, they need to be able to punish aggression. What do you draft to be able to punish that aggression?
Just making sure that you have heroes that are able to kite really quick, and mobility is one of those biggest things. Having that laner coming down, Redix, being able to quickly clear and just rotating down to help collapse on the opponent would make life so much easier for them.
Yeah, is there any hero you have in mind for Redix this game you'd like to see him on?
Well, I haven't seen him on that Ringo or that box too much, and this is like one of the two heroes that he is very strong with, that has that quick rotation, that has that quick clear, and is able to carry into that late game.
All right, we'll see if he can pick that up. Gangstar Cerberus, they do start off with this Adagio. They can basically build whatever they want around it. I think, if they can get that Black Feather, why not? They used it to pretty good effect earlier. But G2 Kinguin, they're going to pick up the Arden, and now we just wait to see how they want to build with this Arden. What are they going to do? Are they going to go with what Rome says? Are they going to get this Ringo, this box, something that, they could rotate with from Redix? But it's going to be Scarf.
And you know what's really good here if Cerebrus decided to pick it up? Just grabbing a buff composition based around Finn. I think playing this out works really well for them, being able to force the Cord Scarf into that team fight, making sure that he doesn't have that range poke that he usually does.
Yeah, that's a good call right here. We'll see if they decide to go for it. And that would be the second pick if they go for it right now. It looks like they're highlighted on it. So Rome, excellent call there. Finn's going to come out, and a great tool against the Scarf.
Yeah, and it's all about positioning. And if Scarf isn't in that position where he's ideal, being able to be in that safety zone and using full advantage of the range on his Spitfire.
Yeah, well, Scarf will be like, oh, I'm outside the gauntlet. And then you're like, nope, you're inside the gauntlet with us. So, I mean, it's all about positioning here. As you said, Scarf needs to live on the outer edges of these fights. Finn, a hero that's going to be repositioning him constantly. And a Kestrel going to come out here. Didn't see that, but Gangstar Cerberus is going to take a note out of Secret's book.
Yeah, and coming out with this Kestrel, it might work very well for them, but with that, they did leave that last spot open for the Glaive pick coming out of G2 Kinguin. I feel like this is going to be very punishing for them.
Yeah, it definitely could. So much success for this Glaive here recently. And why do you think they wouldn't go for the Glaive themselves?
Well, I was thinking in my mind actually that a Glaive on their end would work out really well. It gives them that initiation, that you have that gap closer that you do need for those long, for those compositions built from very vulnerable long range heroes. But they opted out. They decided to grab themselves a Kestrel, so they're gonna have to play this Camel very smartly.
All right, guys, let's see if they can do it. And we've loaded into the Halcyon Fold, so we'll jump right into it. And for potentially the last time we throw it to our casters, Action Jackson and Fedius, guys, take it away.
Don't worry, Humanist. I'll be back for the second qualifier. But the question is, will these teams be back for a Game 5? At the moment, Gangstar Cerberus looking to close things out. On the flip side, G2K, their backs are against the wall, but if they can win one more, they will be able to draw this out into the blind pick. Vedius, what are your anticipations moving into this Game 4?
Well, looking at the compositions, we are seeing this Scarf being brought out by Redix. We do know that this guy does love to play this Scarf. But going up against Kestrel, a buff can't fall Kestrel. We don't have enough time for that because Dark Potato taking a lot of damage.
Oh, he is in a bad position right now, but Leon struggling to close the gap. Actually, we're seeing the turnaround from G2K as Redix rotates down. They might want to start a fight of their own. Not going to go for it in the end, though. It's a little bit too risky.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about these compositions. You can see from the G2 side, definitely more towards scaling. I imagine Dark Potato is going to go with that Sorrowblade sort of itemization, so that it has more of an impact as you transition from the mid to late game. Hopefully he doesn't go Glass Cannon. I feel like they don't need it with the amount of damage that Redix is going to offer towards the mid and late game. But yeah, I feel like that would make sense if he goes towards something like the Sorrowblade and then transitions into tank. Would make a lot of sense. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have a composition that pretty much revolves around Techno JJ. We've seen some varying Adagio builds where some just rush the Shatterglass, whereas others will go more towards the Alternating Current so that they can deal a little bit more personal damage. So I think Leon, this game, will likely go for the Alternating Current because we do know he likes to be that carry. He likes to offer what he can. So it would surprise me if the side of Gankstars pretty much hard commit on Techno JJ being the sole carry for the team.
Yeah, and we've seen earlier today how that can fail to pan out against a glaive when you are the Kestrel, so bit risky. One thing I want to touch on, Redix getting the Scarf. We haven't seen that many all-star performances from Redix in the finals, I would argue, and we've seen some fairly big misplays, but he is well known for his Scarf, and I think if he's going to turn things around, feeling confident on this Scarf is certainly one way to help facilitate that.
Yeah, it is one of his comfort picks, one of his go-to things, and it used to be quite the popular pick in Europe, but certainly has fallen off. Ringo and somewhat Glaive rising to power up in the lane. We've seen quite a variance of things in the lane, actually. A little bit sad about the lack of Celeste. Obviously, Arclost has been bringing it out, but I do feel like she's a really good hero, especially if you play her well. She can offer a lot, especially in these like stun comps, but I suppose given that Finn is rising in popularity, that also results in stun comps being a little bit less favorable. Well, either way, right now, early game, very passive compared to what we saw in Game 3. We are on Game 3, yes. 2-1 advantage if you've only just joined us, going in favor of Gankstars right now. And the new blood on the block appears to be the team that's looking to try and take this first qualifier for spring.
They're in a great position to do so with the 2-1 lead right now. I like the fact that they're playing a little bit reserved in this potentially final game, though. When it is potentially the last game in a series, you want to be careful not to lose your cool, which can certainly happen if you get a little bit too riled up. Right now, Emmer King trading a little bit in the lane. Dark Potato might be looking for that afterburn, but got to deal with 3 members of Gankstars right now, so it's a little bit too risky.
Both teams just going to disengage from that, continue their early game farming. As we do see Techno JJ, the farm is actually identical all across the board, so have a bit of a... Ooh, hang on a second, Emmer King might face check this brush. Nope,
Well, he's not going to. Playing it smart.
Playing it smart. So, Dark Potato, Glaive. Glaive is a cat, right?
Kind of. Not exactly, but yeah.
Yeah, but he belongs to like the cat subset. Like, you know, like a mammal. Well, not quite as broad as a mammal, but you know what I mean. Like a lion is still a cat. Ooh, look at the stun.
Dark Potato's taking a lot of turret damage, though. That was a little bit risky. Dingo as well going pretty deep. Very, very bold plays coming out all of a sudden from G2K. I guess they feel like the onus is on them to make something happen. It's not going to be that dive onto Techno, though.
Nope.
And with regards to what you were saying, there's a word for it, which I'm struggling to remember. You have, like,
Feline.
families and
Feline? That one?
No. Oh, well... Okay, if that's the way you want to go with it. No, I meant more like there's a name for the name of a species like
But
that.
you could still argue that he's a cat, right? He's definitely a cat.
I'm not sure.
I think... Because the point is, right, the reason I'm doing this is because when he afterburns out, could you not say that Dark Potato is playing like a scaredy cat?
That...
Yes!
Yeah, alright, I'll give
Yes!
you it. You get 1 for the entire qualifiers.
Now look at the siege coming out from this Kestrel. Absolutely phenomenal. We haven't touched on it very much, but when Redix isn't in the lane, you obviously don't have that wave clear, so smart from Gankstars to take advantage of that opportunity, and they get a chunk of damage down onto that turret.
They do indeed. That siege has set up Gangstar Cerebrus for a much easier task, taking it down later on. But look at this, Dark Potato being a sneaky sausage up here in this top lane. Looking for maybe some opportunities onto Techno JJ. Good find
glad
it here.
that's
That's the
catching on.
afterburn.
Techno.
Oh, Dragon's Breath. It pans out. Emmer King needs to book it back to his turret as well. He's in a bad position. That's going to be the Spitfire. Goop burning away. Fan the flames. G2K picking up 2 quick kills.
Very great execution coming out from G2. The flank from Dark Potato sitting in that top brush. Techno JJ wasn't expecting that whatsoever. He gets knocked into the full channel Dragon's Breath coming out from Redix, and he gets instantly popped off the back of that. Really well played from them. They're going to get themselves 2 kills, but Redix very low on energy right now.
Leon has a lot of damage, but with Dingo there and no one knowing exactly where Dark Potato was planted, it was a bit risky to go in for the kill, so they're just going to back off. Leon needs to heal up a little bit anyway. Interesting seeing him playing this Adagio. Certainly not the mechanically demanding hero that you would expect him to see necessarily.
Whoa. Adagio is highly mechanically demanding. What are you talking about? Having to press B on yourself and then kill everyone? Man, that requires a lot of skill.
All right, I'm glad you were being sarcastic there because I was about to question your sanity.
No, I do think, to be fair, timing the verse of judgments, I think it's actually quite a skill thing, because whenever I play Adagio, I don't think I ever ult, because I'm always waiting for the right opportunity, and then the fight's over, and you're like, oh.
Well, yeah, that's certainly true, but chess is a very skilled game, but not a very mechanical one, so you got to be careful about how you're using it.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that one. Yep, I'll definitely give you that one. So, right now, very slow. 2 kills in the favor of G2. Great execution up in the lane, trying to shut down Techno JJ on this Kestrel, but they're not doing a great job as he's currently sitting at 79 farm at just approaching 8 minutes into the game, and G2 not in a great position right now.
G2 actually pulling the minions down there is going to mean that the turret can't really be attacked. Dark Potato jumping on the backline, stopping Techno JJ from laying down the hurt. But Leon finds the first kill in the fight, and now Dark Potato does need to be a scaredy cat, maybe run away here. Leon and Techno trying to find some more damage. Turret's pretty low, but Dark Potato jumps in. He gets a double kill. He's looking for a third. Emmer King just that little bit too tanky, though. Gankstars Cerebrus overcommitting a little bit there.
Dark Potato awakening his inner tiger to turn that fight around, landing crit after crit with a very well-placed Blood Song to get the damage down that G2 needed to get themselves a 2-for-1 in that exchange. A little bit mispositioning coming out from Redix, and Redix, oh actually I was sitting there like, Redix, he might be able to steal the gold mine, and we're like, well, he might. Oh, the one-shot one kill.
So
nice.
Close.
Wait, does
Yet
it?
so far.
No, Dark Potato could have body blocked that, right? He could have body blocked that.
Yeah, he could have, but
Yeah.
he didn't need to in the end.
Yeah.
Also, I just read confirmation that he is a cat, so you got it.
You got yeah. Nailed it. Right, so and that makes me wonder how a cat came across a giant ice axe to use as its primary weapon.
Well,
But
there's
that's
some very good Vainglory lore. You can go read about that, I'm sure.
very, very true. So right now, you take stock of the game. I've done enough of that this game.
All right, gold, extremely close. Oh, that's gonna be Redix hooked in. Quibble follows, but the Leon ultimate not going to land. Dragon's Breath comes across. Dark Potato's already found one. Leon, he's trying to kite out. The heal buys him some time. He's got crazy good damage, but he can't quite kill 2 by himself. Emmer King unscathed. Not an ideal situation to have your roamer not tank anything up there. Might be able to find some damage on a Dingo here, but it's a bit of a wet noodle fight between these 2 roamers. Ultimately, a turret for a 2-for-1 kill trade. I mean, it's pretty close.
So that was actually somewhat of a misplay coming out from Gankstars initially, because you should have channeled the Verse of Judgment in the brush and then used the ultimate to drag you in as Dark Potato. He's gone. Goodbye. Getting caught out of position right there. We'll get onto that in a second. In the previous fight, they should have timed their ultimates better. You can drag the enemy team into the Verse of Judgment at the time of its activation, but instead the Force to Cause was used a little bit too early, which meant that they only managed to get the Verse damage down onto Dingo. And then Dark Potato with a fantastic re-engage onto Leon, forcing him under the turret, but Leon doesn't care, because he's able to then get the return kill onto Redix, and this is the power that you have when you go for this more of a selfish build. I call it a selfish build, it's just a more of a damage-centered build towards yourself, and Leon, with the alternating current, able to get the solo kill down onto Redix, and then for some reason Dark Potato, over-aggressing, gives shut down gold back over to Gankstars, and now they have the gold lead.
They are in a good position off the back of that, but with the turret already down, that's obviously a big advantage and a big contributor to that gold lead. Dark Potato still in a strong position, 4-1-2 with 72 farm. Has been causing a lot of disruption on the Gankstars lineup so far this game, but unable to be the sneaky potato that he'd like to be, spotted out by that scout trap in the bush above the lane. Gangstar Cerebrus not ones to let that happen twice.
Oh, there's the false accord.
He is hooked in. The Verse of Judgment comes across, does stun up Dingo, is going to find some good damage. The one-shot, one-kill comes across, but the Fountain of Renewal doing some work. Leon, he wants the kill, finds Redix. That's going to be Dingo going down as well. Dark Potato, the last man standing for G2K. Gankstars Cerebrus still have Tetno alive as well, so it'd be bold for Dark Potato to go for a fight here. Looks like he might want to contest a gold mine attempt if Gankstars started off, though.
So that was a better verse of Accord, where they were able to combine their abilities a little bit better to actually get the stun down onto Dingo and then put all that target focus down onto him. And then Leon, you said that not typically playing this Adagio can't quite offer that carry role. He just dives into the backline and solos out Redix. So he's trying to prove you wrong right now, and he's having a massive impact on this Adagio.
He really is. He does seem to know exactly how much he can accomplish, and trading a kill like that isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're already winning a skirmish on the other side. So I like the fact that he's being very bold and making these plays. Just needs to make sure these verses are landing on their targets. That last one only landing onto Dingo, not ideal. Fight could have gone a bit better if it had caught multiple people.
Certainly could have been, but... And interestingly, no Crucible yet, no reflex block on Dark Potato, and he is going for this very glass cannon build once again. I'm not a massive fan of this, but let's see if he can prove me wrong as both teams posturing around the jungle right now.
Lots of skills missed for Gangstar Cerebrus. Emmer King might be a good target here, but the turnaround, stun from the Quibble onto Dingo. Dark Potato really looking for the opportunity, the opening to go for that afterburn. Just can't quite find it yet. They're just going to be forced to go back to the lanes. So ultimately, Gankstars, playing it safe, are able to escape from that slightly scary situation.
Certainly is. G2 just basically sending a message. You have to remember how tense this is for them right now. They are on the back foot. It's 2-1 in favor of Gankstars. It's and at the moment the game is in control of Gankstars as the gold miner gets kicked off.
Doesn't get stolen away by Gankstars, but can they find any kills here? Active camo caught by Tetno. He gets a double stun. Dingo and Dark Potato in a bad spot. Dark Potato first to go down, but Leon, he's burning away here, and he cannot stop, drop, and roll in time. Emmer King, last man for GSC, gonna be going down. G2K picking themselves up the ace, staying strong in what could be their last game.
So with the acquisition of that broken myth onto Redix, he was doing so much more damage in that fight, and this time Leon wasn't able to get the turnaround in the 1 versus 1 between the Adagio and the Scarf. Very well played from Redix. His positioning was phenomenal, but you also have to give some credit to the Potato Man himself. He was able to get so much damage down onto Tetno and kill him with his last breath. If he wasn't able to do that, the fight could have very quickly swung in Gankstars' favor. So great play overall for G2. They guarantee themselves, or they get themselves the ace, they get themselves the gold miner, as well as a turret on top of that. All of a sudden, G2 have swung the game back in their favor.
They have indeed, but they gotta stay on this. They can't get too cocky. We've seen numerous times in the finals alone that really biting teams in the butt and causing them to lose games where they seem so far ahead. Speaking of how far ahead GK actually are, it's not that tremendous an amount. They're sitting at 28k to the 26.2, so slightly under 2k in the lead. That isn't a massive one. They're going to have to be careful, as I said, moving forwards. Pick any fights that are ultimately going to go Gankstars' way.
Have a look at this, so the Kraken being kicked off for G2. They have control over the forward brush, so they know if Gankstars are coming. This could be perfect for Redix.
Yeah, this is a little bit scary. Look at how quickly that Kraken's falling. It does go the way of G2K, but massive damage onto all of the members of G2. They've got to be careful here. You can see Tetno wasn't really even in that fight to begin with. Now moving forward, Dark Potato might be looking for the afterburn, though. And Leon's in a very bad position. He takes so much damage, but he's able to kite backwards for now. Can he get away here? Tetno wants to find the glimmer shots on the Redix, but he's now in basically a 1 versus 3. This fight has turned in a big way for G2. What just happened, Vedius? Leon, he overextended so far.
He certainly did, and that was the go button that G2 needed to force that fight. So many big crits coming out from Dark Potato, and he's looking for another one.
Oh, he knocks him the wrong way, though. Leon is just barely able to escape. That could have gone the other way. Leon, he's going to have some help from Emmer King soon, but Tetno still has 6 seconds on the spawn. Kraken doing some nice work right now. Dark Potato might look for another afterburn as well. Gankstars, they're on the back foot here. They might get pushed into that Game 5 blind pick. We'll have to see if they can defend this push. Kraken's still fairly healthy, but it looks like G2K want to play this safe. They know they need to. They're not going to try and go too deep to get those towers.
I think this makes sense. This is the smart decision. Just take what objectives you can. Give the 500 gold over to Gankstars because you picked yourself up 2 turrets anyway, so you're still going to come out with a net gain overall. And you can see that with the gold lead right now. 3,000 in the favor of G2, and they are putting the hurt down. Let's just backtrack over that fight that enabled this for G2, because Leon overextending, chasing into the bush, sitting in a goop for such a long period of time, and then followed up by Dark Potato getting 2 massive crits, forced the Fountain of Renewal out so early that it was only really effective for Leon himself and not the other 2 members of Gankstars. That then resulted in TechnoJJ, who was still buying in the shop, in an awful position because he was behind all 3 members of G2. There was no way that he was able to escape, and because of the 2 kills that G2 were able to get, they get themselves the Kraken, and now they've broken into the base of Gankstars.
That is a big step forward for them, but they've got to maintain composure. I can't tell you how many times there's been 1 turret left standing for a team and they come back into it. I feel like if Tetno had been a bigger part of that fight as well, maybe things could have gone a bit better. But Dingo with the gauntlets is doing a nice job of zoning out the carries for Gankstars. They might be trying to catch someone out here. Not going to be able to pull it off, though. Gankstars spotting them at the last second. Things are super tense. As I always say, could only be more tense with more tension bows.
Well, Dark Potato has picked himself up one. He's actually gone for, again, this glass cannon build. It's working for him this game because the only major threat is Tetno, and as long as Dark Potato is shutting him down, then he is doing the job that he needs to for his team. So in this setup, I think it works a little bit better. But have a look at what Gankstars are trying to do right now. They're in a great position to start off this Kraken. I don't know if they want to, though. So now that both teams disengaged, just setting up their positions, trying to control the minion waves, I want to talk about TechnoJJ and this Kestrel specifically, because we have seen a lot of Kestrel buff cons come out, and the only time I've ever seen it succeed was when Team Secret brought it out back at the European Live Champs. Throughout this patch, it has not been successful, currently sitting at 2 and 5, and I don't know if it's going to have that much of an impact if the Kraken gets started off.
Forced Accord was burned there by Emmer King, didn't catch anyone though, and look at this, Gankstars. They're just giving up on this. They're not even trying to contest. 1 shot, 1 kill doesn't even come across. That was kind of surprising to me. I feel like they could have tried at least.
Well, I guess they felt like that they didn't want to walk into a choke point when you're going up against that Scarf. He's now completed 3 items with the Frostburn, Eve of Harvest, and Broken Myth, and you cannot underestimate that overdriven Dragon's Breath that has a base damage of like 1200 with a 3 scaling on it. It is absolutely insane, especially with the amount of crystal power that Reddick has on him, and if he gets a full channel of that onto any target, they will melt.
You're very right, but here comes the push. Kraken and G2K making their way into the base. They want to get to that Game 5 blind pick. Gankstars, they need to pull out a win here in this fight if they want to stay with the chance of taking the finals 3-0, or sorry, 3-2. Here comes the fight though. Dragon's Breath, it's on 3 members. TechnoJJ's knocked right back in, but look at this. Dingo and Reddick's actually the last men standing for G2K. Leon's doing some good damage right now. The Quibble isn't going to be enough though. It doesn't land onto Reddick's. He's trying to find the kill. Kraken still healthy. G2K force Game 5.
I told you that G2 was somehow going to pull this out in Game 4. They've been in this situation before, and the last qualifier against SK Gaming. They know what it's like to be put in this situation, and all they did was go back to comfort picks. Reddick's on the Scarf, Dark Potato on the Glaive, and they had the game of the series. This was fantastic for G2, and fantastic for our viewers, because we're going to be going to a Game 5 blind.
Man, this series is just back and forth, but who's going to be the final team to take it forward for the win? I can't wait to find out. Let's hear the thoughts of our analysts before we get underway with our final game.
Wow, what an unbelievable matchup there, and G2 just holding it together, playing so strong.